That music is so soothing, isn't it?
And it is appropriate for tonight's show, especially, I
It
think.
is. Hey, welcome to Candidly Speaking with Chelle and Kelle. I'm Kelle.
I am Chelle. We are so glad that you are with us, as we always are, but especially thrilled to have you with us tonight. So if you are watching, please let us know. Please comment in the comment section. And if you are watching the replay, please let us know that as well, as most people do. Just put hashtag replay in there and let us know where you're watching from. We'd love to know.
We would love to know. And we also have some wonderful sponsors that make all this possible. So first we have Blue Sky Video Productions. Bruce Himmelblau is our producer. He is a YouTube strategist and he does all of this. So we just have to look beautiful. We try.
Yeah, so easy.
Yes. So give him a call or message him somehow if you need someone to produce your show. If you want to do a live stream and you've been always wanting to do it, but you're scared to push all the buttons, he's your man. And then we have the amazing Ronnie Goodwin Graphics, cottonfeelsgood.com. He is our t-shirt supplier. And if I could ever get our logo finished, we could actually pass out the t-shirts that he's making for us. So I'm thinking that I'm having a premonition that will be done by the end of this week. I just have a feeling.
It will. And all of our guests will be pretty in pink in their Kellen Shell t-shirts.
Mm-hmm.
Chelle and Kelle.
And Cards That Wow, that's me. I have to tell you, March's grown-up Right Sparkle Wow box, it feels magical to me. When I did this,
They're beautiful.
This is the most beautiful card I've ever made. Check this out.
It's beautiful.
Isn't that awesome?
It's
so you
beautiful.
Get 6 of these in a box, plus stamped envelopes, fun pen, wax seals, everything you need to show gratitude in a very easy way. And that's at cardsthatwow.com.
And the recipient will absolutely say, wow.
And they'll love you.
Absolutely.
Forever.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
So how was your week so far?
My week's been good. I'm still, as you can see, working with some lighting and location challenges, but hopefully that will soon be cleared up. So thanks for being patient with me. And I'm sorry, tonight I'm looking pink. I'm always either pink or white. So
I prefer pink.
Tonight's pink. Yeah. So, it kind of matches with our color scheme. So there you go.
Yay.
I intended it. So, yeah. So tonight,
it.
I'm so excited. I know I'm always so excited because we have wonderful guests here tonight.
Oh,
but
wait, I forgot. I have to do a shout out to a new friend.
Okay.
Charlie. He's one of my new friends, and he's a new watch. He's going to be watching, or he is watching tonight. And I promised him, I'd say, hey, Charlie. So say hi to Charlie.
Well, hey, Charlie. We're so glad to have you here.
Yeah, I know.
Okay, great. So welcome to Charlie, and welcome to our fantastic guest. He is kind of from my area. I have seen Scott McKain forever. I know he was a TV personality here. I'm in Louisville, Kentucky. He was TV personality here on WHAS. He is now really one of the most sought after keynote speakers, business speakers in the world. He is amazing. He is I had to write all this down because there's so much.
There's so much.
There is so much, really. He is the founder and CEO of the Distinction Institute, keynote speaker, broadcaster, host. He's a hoot. He is wonderful, entertaining, a voice like butter. Okay. Please just help us welcome from Las Vegas, Nevada, Scott McKain.
Wow.
You like
guys
that?
are so great. That is so cool.
You're so cool, Scott McKain. Come on.
I am knocked out. That just rocks. I got to tell you, you were so kind to mention all those things, but I also sit here and think, good grief, it sounds like I couldn't keep a job.
No, we didn't even talk about the books.
We didn't talk about the books. No, sorry. Yeah, I am horrible as an introducer.
Oh no, she's good.
You were great. We've tried to do this for a while, and It's a thrill to be with you guys. Thank you so
You're
much for having me.
welcome. Welcome. We were talking before the show started, everybody. I mean, Scott McKain, it seems like, because I used to just see him all the time. I feel like I just know him, even though today is actually our first conversation. But I was like, are you kidding, Scott McKain? So I feel like we're old friends. But
I really appreciate that. And gosh, the days at WHAS were just so great. And I'm so privileged because I get the chance to stay in touch with some of the folks that I worked with, people in Louisville. Remember Jim Mitchell? We stay in touch on Facebook, and some of the other folks. And then every time I do a book, they've been kind enough to let me come back. And then I got to tell you a funny story. My wife Tammy had never been to the Kentucky Derby, and my first wife was from Jeffersonville. I lost her to cancer and then got remarried a while later. Well, anyway, she had never been to the Derby. So I take her to the Derby. She knew nothing about Louisville, had never even been to Louisville, right? So we go to the Derby and we're walking through the paddock area, and this tall, lanky, bald-headed guy reaches behind me and gets me in a headlock. It starts, giving me noogies, and she freaks out. She thinks some drunk at the Derby, and it was Terry Miners.
oh, I know who. Yeah.
Who is a local celebrity there in Louisville that everybody knows and everybody loves, and we hadn't seen each other for a while. And it was so funny because Tammy's just like freaking out looking for security because this guy's got me in a headlock, and it was Terry.
gosh,
So he's an amazing guy. So anyway, I miss Louisville, love Louisville. My hometown, Crothersville, is about 30 miles or so north of Louisville. So it brings back great memories every time we talk about it.
Well, we would love to have you back
I'm ready.
anytime, Scott.
You
Yes.
bet.
And Louisville is a wonderful place. I was saying, this is the only place I've ever lived. And as I was sharing, it's just about the only place I've ever been, to tell you the truth. So you'd have to.
We're
just-
broadening your horizons because we got you to Kansas City last year.
You did. That is now the farthest west I have ever been is Kansas City.
Well, and Kansas City is another favorite town of mine because one of my best friends in the world is a guy named Mark Mayfield. And Mark was a national FFA officer the year before me. And so we became friends there. And he ended up for a while owning a bar on Berry Road in North Kansas City. And I don't know that there are two cities more alike than Indianapolis and Kansas City. And Kansas City is such a great place to live. And the Convention and Visitors Bureau had me there for the their annual meeting of all the Kansas City big shots, and I got a chance to speak for that a few years back. So I've had some great times, and I was elected national FFA officer when the convention was in Kansas City. So the moment that changed my life, really, perhaps more than anything, happened there in Kansas City.
Well, and that convention, it seems like it was here forever. Yeah. I know there would be a week every summer when downtown Louisville was just a flood of those blue corduroy jackets.
Yep.
So it was always fun to see all of this. Yes.
Can I ask a silly question? Is that Future Farmers?
Yeah.
Okay, that's what my niece does that.
Now
I know
it's
all
only
about that now. Okay.
Yeah, they dropped the Future Farmers of America from the name because, interestingly enough, most of the students in it don't have a desire to be a farmer, but they get in things like small animal care for veterinary practices or turf management for golf courses and greenhouses.
That's what got my daughter into equine medicine.
There you go. And so that's the student organization that
it's amazing
for them. And it's an amazing, it really is a leadership building, speaking, development type of organization. So it's a matter of fact, we're talking about National FFA Week. I'm doing a interview on a nationally syndicated program tomorrow talking about National FFA Week. So it's near and dear to my heart.
It's cool. And it's cool how you carry things from things like that with you for the rest of your life, as you have. One of my cousins did lots of things through FFA with like extemporaneous speaking, and it has just assisted him greatly in his career. So, and you do a little speaking yourself,
from time to time,
a little bit.
It's so crazy. We're working on an update to the website and everything, and we figured out I've spoken in all 50 states, and we are up to 45 countries now. And it was just kind of amazing. It's just been such a privilege to get to talk about the message of creating distinction and the ultimate customer experience
Sure.
To audiences everywhere.
Sure.
So
There you are in all your glory.
There
can
you
you
are.
believe that? I mean, here's the funny thing, that first part right there was a speech that I did in an arena here in Las Vegas, and there were about 10,000 people in the audience, and most people don't believe it, but it's easier to speak to 10,000 than it is to speak to 50.
I would agree with that.
Yeah, I would believe that. I think it's easier to sing in front of, thousands of people than it is 3. I would much rather do that.
Yeah, it is.
Don't the lights blind you though and you can't really see?
Yeah, of course, but that's my other fear is, I'll be looking over here making a point, and it's the part of the arena has been roped off and there's nobody sitting there. So everybody thinks, what's wrong with that guy? What's he, but yeah, you see like the front row or two, and after that, it's just, the lights just blind you. But what happens is with a group that big, the sound system is always going to be great. The visuals are always going to be great. The audience expects that you're going to be good.
Mm-hmm.
Why would you be speaking to a group that large if you weren't good? But then the second thing is, if you've got 20 people in the room, it's kind of like, all right, buddy, what do you got to say? And in a big group like that, I'm sure it's the same with singing, is that it's contagious. People enjoy it, and it's contagious in the crowd. You get a small crowd and people don't want to laugh, or they don't want to get involved as much. They have that peer pressure where
or you got that you're watching for them to look at their watch.
Yeah.
That kind of stuff. It's
Kellen, my theory has always been, I don't mind if they look at it, but when they shake it and hold it up to their ear, that's when I start worrying a little bit. So.
Oh, shoot. Well, you're a big deal, Scott. So that's very impressive. Here's the first question I have for you. I would love to hear how Leland changed your life, really.
Well, I don't know how much of the story, you really want me to go into, but my folks owned the one grocery store in Crothersville, Indiana, and a supermarket opened up, and it terrified my family. I mean, one of the things about entrepreneurs is that you're all in. I mean, if I'm working for a company and I lose my job, that's very, very difficult. But when you're an entrepreneur and you're all in, I mean, you've put everything, your house, your everything in on it, and so. The supermarket opened and we didn't have any customers that first morning, and Dad's behind the meat case mad and Mom's in the office crying, and I'm just a kid sitting at the one cash register, and nobody is coming in the store. And Leland, who was a gruff old guy from back home, came in, and I had to ask him, why did you shop here? Everybody else is at the supermarket. Why did you shop here? And Leland said words that really changed it's how I got interested in how do you stand out. It's how I got interested in why do customers do what they do. He said, well, you guys like me.
Customer experience.
My first thought was, no, not really. We really don't. But now we do, right?
But now we do.
and so what I learned from that was that connection that you create with your customers, or as a speaker with the audience, as a singer with the audience. I mean, the connection that we create, man, that becomes the most important thing in the world. It transcends transaction. It is why people would want to come back. And so it made just such a huge difference in helping, educate me about what really matters in business and what really matters in life. It was like the clouds part and the lightning bolt comes down and hits me on the top of the head and wakes me up about what really matters. And I was so fortunate to learn that from Leland and also from my dad and how he ran the store at such a young age.
But it's true. People do want to do business with people they like. They do.
Thank you, Randy. Yeah, that's it. Connection is it. And the connection is what makes us unique as well. I mean, when I first started studying about distinction, one of the things that was like the blinding flash, the obvious was, that we get chosen for our differences, not for our similarities. You know, most of us get in business, or we do what we do, and we want to make sure, hey, look, these people are doing well. I'd better do what they're doing so that I can do great too. And I think it's important, vital to learn from mentors, but you can't be an imitation of those folks. You know, in recorded history, no customers ever said, hey, I love doing business with them. They're exactly like everybody else. You know,
Good point.
when I proposed to Tammy, I did not get down on one knee, look up in her eyes and say, honey, will you marry me? You're just like every other woman I've ever dated.
And let me tell you, Scott, you did good.
I outkicked my coverage, didn't I? Yeah, I have twice.
Have y'all seen Mrs. McKain?
She's a sweetie.
I'm sure the inside is just as beautiful as the outside.
Even
let
better.
me tell you, that's a nice, yeah.
Yeah.
You did good there, Scott.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
So I'm very, very fortunate.
And Peggy just said she's pretty awesome.
She is, as Peggy knows. Yes, as Peggy knows. So yeah, she's. Gosh, I'm glad she's going to watch this on the replay. I'm going to make her sit down and you will hear the good things we're all saying about you. But you know, the thing of it is, all of us have been through incredible life changes, you know, and as I said, I lost my first wife to cancer, and you know, that's a very difficult situation. You know, when someone is a widower and has a past, you know, has a past like that. And one of the things I admire so much about Tammy was that not only did she, you know, come in and handle that situation so incredibly well, but you know, she brought two teenage sons in as part of the package, you know, and it changed my life in ways that I can't even describe. I will tell you this though: put two teenage boys on your auto insurance policy. I got the first bill and thought it was a ransom note. You know, I was like, what has Allstate done to me here?
Oh my goodness. Well, okay. Back to distinction. Can you elaborate on that just a little bit more? Because I'd really like to hear your thoughts on that. Why is it so key?
Well, I think there's three levels, and thank you for asking, because it's a great question. Is that there are three levels. The first level is sameness, and sameness is where the customer can't tell the difference between us and others in the marketplace, and I think that's the worst place to be. It's kind of the place that most businesses end up, but it's the worst place to be in business, because at that point you're a commodity. And if you can't differentiate yourself, then the customers are going to make the choice based on just price, which is the worst place in the world. I mean, because now the only thing I've got to do to steal your customers is have a cheaper price, right? So that's very, very difficult, particularly when we're in a time of, you know, inflation like we are now, where the supply chain is difficult and wages are going up and prices are going. I mean, it's a very difficult place to be. Okay, so sameness is the bottom level. Next up is differentiation. And I see a lot of businesses doing this. They think that, I'll just be different and that'll attract. I think the problem is a lot of times the things that they think are different aren't things that have traction with customers. I saw a website the other day of a company that said, here's what makes us different. And I read it and I could think of 10 other companies doing the same thing. So in other words, what they thought made them different didn't make them different. So it's not bad to be different, but you know, if I slap every customer in the face, I'm different, but it doesn't mean anybody's going to buy anything else from me, right? So it's got to be something more than that. And that's where I find distinction. And distinction is, we have created meaningful space and differentiation in the marketplace in ways that matter to our customers and, in today's world, to our employees. I mean, look, everything in today's world is about choice. Why a customer doesn't choose us as much as a customer chooses us instead of all of the other options that they have out there in the marketplace. And so what we have to understand is, how do we drive that selection? How do we drive that choice? What can we do so that customers choose us rather than choosing something else? Okay, so for many of us, it's not a situation where we can make our product completely different. I do a lot of work in the automotive business, and it's not that if you are a Volkswagen dealer in Louisville, that you can have a different Volkswagen than other Volkswagen dealers in Louisville. So how do you win? Well, you have to find ways to separate yourself in the marketplace through your service, how you deliver the customer experience, how you attract the best employees, and how you follow up, and how you had meaning. And those things are so often overlooked. And that's what we have to work on. That's what we have to find ways to stand out, because we have the trademark on the term stand out, earn more. Because when you stand out, you do earn more. And it's not just earn more money. It's you earn more respect. You earn more customers. For entrepreneurs, when you stand out, you earn more freedom in your business. You get the chance to work on your business, not just in your business, as the saying goes. There's so many advantages to creating distinction. Yet so many times we have our blinders on. We just want to do it the way it's always been done, or we wait until it's a point of desperation and we have to do it to survive. And the key is what we're going to do is to be proactive and create the distinction that's out there in the marketplace. Randy makes a great point here in the comments where he says, "Do you see sameness leads to the customer only being satisfied?" Yeah, I get back to thinking about when I proposed to Tammy. If I, right before the proposal, if I say, "Honey, how do you feel about our relationship?" She goes, "I'm satisfied." That is not the time you ask for her hand in marriage, right? I'm satisfied. Will you spend your life with me? That's not what we're looking for. So if it's not acceptable in our significant personal relationships, why would we think that it's a good standard in business relationships? I don't want my clients to be satisfied. But by the way, we don't recommend places where we're merely satisfied to our friends. Right? I think of this like the hairstylist that Tammy and I both go to the same hairstylist. We love Amy. We tell everybody about Amy. Why? Because she's fantastic and she thrills us and she does a great job. If we were merely satisfied, would we recommend that to our friend? Hey, you ought to go, she's okay. She might not ruin your hair. What kind of recommendation is that? Right? So Randy's exactly right. Satisfied customers are still in play. I want my customers to be loyal and to be not merely customers, but advocates. Mm. See, there's a progression, right? There are suspects. They might need what you have to offer, but they don't know yet, and you don't know yet. They're not even a prospect yet. They're just a suspect. Then the next level is a prospect. They're looking for what you have, and you think they might be a good fit with your business. Then if we think about it, they become a first-time buyer. That's the first thing. Their first time. They buy something and sample it. They try it out. They sample the experience. To me, then when they come back, now they're a customer, right? They come back. They're a repeat customer. But then the next level is client. And client is where you talk about what they need and how you can help. And it's a more intensive relationship. But a lot of businesses stop there. The highest level is the advocate. So not only is there a deep relationship between you and them, man, they're out there selling for you. They're out there telling their friends. They're out there saying, hey, you've got to get in touch with these folks. They're the best, man. They take cases. Okay. When the people that are spending money with you are also out there recruiting to get more people to spend money with you, now you've got a great business. Now you've got something of significance.
Wow.
Oh, thank you, John.
Yeah.
It's so nice.
Hey, Johnny Mac. Great. Okay. Wow.
Here's my friend Dwayne, and he's right. Yeah, imitation is limitation. That's a great line.
That's a good
That
one.
is great, yeah. Dwayne. Absolutely. We had a question up here too that I can only have see, Scott. Yes, exactly. I think it was Bam's question about. Yeah. Yes. Here we go. What do you think about this, Scott? Will you look back at COVID and see a silver lining? What do you think?
Yes, because I think we have to find the good in everything. Excuse me. And look, this pandemic, and I don't mean this in a political way. I don't mean this in a, in a way about, there's a variance in feelings about it. But nonetheless, I think I think there's some things that we could look at that are good. For example, I think business owners appreciate their employees more than they ever have, because they realize what's like without them. I think I've seen businesses here locally that have had a wake up call and appreciate their customers more than they did before. It's horrible. We had to go through this to create that appreciation, but it is there. There's also other things that have come out of the pandemic. For example, what we're doing right now. Mm-hmm. I've read estimates that the way that this type of technology improved, had it not been for the pandemic, would have taken another 7 to 9 years. Mm. But because of the need, necessity is the mother of invention, the pace of change and development of this went so rapidly. So, I think in any tragedy, in any challenging situation, and no matter where you are politically on that or how you feel about things there, I think we can look at this and say there are some things that we've learned. There are some things that are going to be beneficial, because at the end of the day, I love the line that we're not all in the same boat, but we certainly are all in the same storm. Mm-hmm. And when we pass through a storm, all of a sudden, the sky is brighter and the weather is clear and the air is just crisp, and we look back and we appreciate how the storm cleared things out. Well, hopefully the storm cleared out some bad attitudes, and the storm that we've been through has improved some of the ways that we communicate. And there's another thing, and sorry to go so much into this, but back in the days when I was on television, if it wasn't on ABC, CBS, or NBC, the word didn't get out there. And now we have a chance, just the three of us sitting here talking, but to have an audience that's unlimited, really. I mean, anybody in the world could be watching this. And right. And I think that while there are certainly challenges with disinformation and challenges in mistaken information, and there's some meanness in social media that I wish wasn't there. However, on balance, the fact that anybody can create an audience and anybody can create a voice is a pretty amazing and wonderful thing.
It is kind of mind-blowing when you think of the power that we harness, and this time 2 years ago, I had no idea that this even existed.
Me either.
What live stream? What?
I was afraid to go on a Zoom call. I was afraid of Zoom.
No idea what that was. No idea what that was. So,
and if you'd asked us a year and a half ago or 2 years ago that we'd be doing a live stream with Scott McKain, they'd say, "Yeah, you're crazy."
Are you kidding me? Yeah, Kellen called me up one day and said, "Hey, let's do a show," and I was like, "Okay."
All right.
What that even meant.
Right. And I mean, too, think about it. I mean, the cost of entry is low as well. I mean, again, I sound like my dad walking to school, but in my old broadcasting days, the cost of entry was so expensive. A camera that could do what a camera now on a laptop can do, it was just impossible for any. There was no way to break through that. Now, the whole question is not technology, but is it interesting? Mm-hmm. Which is really pretty exciting.
Yeah, it really is. Yeah, gone are the days of the 3 channels. In Louisville, 3, 11, 32, 51. 32, if it was raining, it was iffy. If your mom was using the mixer, you weren't going to really see any of them. If your mom was making mashed potatoes, it wasn't going to happen.
Or remember when, good Lord, I'm showing my age, but remember when, if you didn't see it when it was on television, then you didn't get to see it. It was gone. Right. Maybe it would be in a rerun in 6 months, but But if you didn't see that episode of Bonanza, or if you missed the Beatles on Ed Sullivan or whatever it
You
might have
missed
been,
it.
right?
You
You
missed
missed
it.
it. It was gone. It was
I
You're at
never.
the
remember
mercy of the
telling my
rerun.
Yeah, I remember telling my kids when Cartoon Network was on that my mom has told stories to me about me crying when Winnie the Pooh went off because it wouldn't come on until next season. The 130-minute Winnie the Pooh special that came on once a year.
Yeah.
It was over.
Yeah.
Or the
until
fact
next
that Saturday was dedicated to cartoons.
Yeah,
right?
exactly. But Winnie the Pooh came on once a year.
No,
Cartoon.
man, those are some great days, getting up as a kid,
Saturday
and
was
get a bowl
great.
of cereal and lay on the floor and turn on the
Pop-Tart
television.
cereal and Scooby-Doo.
Because that was the only time you see cartoons, right? It wasn't like there was
Right. You could
Nickelodeon
just
or-
watch them whenever.
Yeah.
Those were the days.
Before he
Look at us
passed,
dating
my dad had
ourselves.
this. My dad dropped this joke on me. It was like he caught me. We were just talking about how much things have changed, and I joked and I said, "Well, Dad, now I sit back and I've got a clicker, I've got a channel changer." And Dad looked at me so funny and he said, "Well, I had a channel changer too." I said, "No, you didn't." He said, "Yeah, I did. It was, son, get up there and change it."
Oh, that was funny.
I've got a great buddy. As a matter of fact, I'm going to see him this weekend. A great buddy, Jason Dorsey, and Jason is a millennial. And he studies trends and everything. And he says one of the things we don't forget, or one of the things we don't remember, it's easy to forget, is if you didn't experience it before, then it's outside your frame of reference. And so when younger folks, and I was just thinking, there's folks sitting there going, "What are you talking about? Are you kidding?" Well, it's because if you haven't experienced it, then you don't have the frame of reference. So for us to say, that we remember a time where you couldn't record the show or you couldn't stream it whenever you wanted to see it or whatever, it's just the way they've grown up. And there'll be some new technology that years from now they'll be saying to their kids, "Yeah, I remember when."
Well,
So
Scott, have you seen, there was a video, I guess it went viral a while ago, but it was parents, they recorded their kids trying to make a phone call on a rotary phone.
Oh my gosh. Oh, I bet
And it
that
was hilarious. They didn't know how to do it. They had no idea.
Yeah.
And it was the funniest thing.
Well, one of the questions that I have written down here, actually, Scott, is I want to ask you to speak about just generational changes and how you think that plays into business and distinction. And could you talk about that a little bit?
It's a fabulous question because, in part, it's fascinating to think that there are more generations in the workforce, and therefore as customers now, than at any time in human history. There has never been a point in human history where there were so many generations purchasing side by side and working side by side.
Mm-hmm.
And I think something that happens just naturally, human nature, is that whatever generation we're a part of, we think we were the ones that kind of did it right. And one of the things that I've personally had to grow with is that just because it's different doesn't make it wrong. It just makes it different. I tell the story in speeches. I was giving a speech in Minneapolis, and it was about 1,000 realtors. And man, it was a great audience. Everybody's taking notes and everybody's so into it. And except there was one guy on the front row and he had his iPhone, and he didn't take his nose off of his phone my entire speech. And it got to the point it kind of bugged me, because he never looked up. He was just doing this. The whole time I'm speaking. And everybody else is writing things. They was just, and I thought, and I almost stopped my speech and said, "Hey man, could you just put that up for a minute? You don't need to be." But then I thought, well, wait a minute. Everybody else is great. Why would I take everybody's time just for the, so I, let it go. Speech is over. I go back up to a hotel room, put my jeans on, fly back home, get on Twitter for a minute. And there were 15 tweets, quotes from my speech with that guy's picture next to it, that young man's picture next to it. And there were 3 tweets about how much he loved my speech.
Wow.
And I stood there in the hotel room and went, wow, I am so glad I didn't say anything, because, his thing was, this was how he was taking notes.
So he was doing his notes, yeah.
And you know what else he did? Like, I go to a conference and I take notes, and I've got my notebook, man. I've got all my notes, and I've got them over here on a shelf, and sometimes they never see the light of day again. And this guy took that and he shared it with everybody he knew.
Yeah, it's still out there. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so I don't think my way's better. And I realized, that just because it's different, doesn't make it wrong. And so what we have to be is more. It doesn't mean we have to change. I'm not saying, hey, if you're a Gen Xer, the way you did it was wrong, and the way the Gen Zers are doing it's right. I'm just saying the world would be a better place if we didn't assume that our way was the way.
Exactly.
It's funny when you think about the educational system. We're taught that there's basically one right answer. Mm-hmm. 2 + 2 is 4. Stop. You don't need to look for any other answers. That's the only answer. 16th president, Abraham Lincoln. Stop. There are no other answers. But as we get out in life, I think part of what we learn more than anything is that there's more than one right answer to a lot of things. And the more that we can keep looking for better right answers, that's a pretty good life. That's the life I want to have, to be open and accepting and learning. I have a mentor. I call him my reverse mentor. He's a young guy, late 20s, and he teaches me so much. And it always used to be your mentor was the older person that you looked up to. Man, there's so many cool things going on in the world now that I want to know about, and I want to participate in, and I want to learn from. And as long as we're green and growing, it's a whole lot better than being ripe and rotting.
That's a good one.
That's a great one.
Hey, there's my buddy Randy Pennington, one of the great guys in the world.
He said the world would be a better place if we didn't automatically assume that our way is the only way. Boom. Yeah. Boom.
Hey, Randy would be a great guest for you guys too.
Randy.
He is one of the smartest, savviest, most super guys. He has written a book called Results Rule. And Randy has trademarked a term. Randy, I hope you don't mind me mentioning your trademark term. It's the new next. It's not the new normal because it won't necessarily feel normal. We don't have to wait for it to feel normal. And Randy is so brilliant about thinking about that. He's somebody else that makes me, makes the everything fire and makes me think. So, and that's the thing. I mean, the more we can, that's what's so great about your show. There he is. That's what's so great about your show is that you get people to think and to share ideas and to find better ways of doing things. And that's what it's all about. The more that we can soak this up, I mean, let's,
we hope so.
Keeps
it's
it
our
exciting.
gift to the world.
It's what we do, Scott. But yeah, we need to get Randy on here. But it sometimes that is hard to do. I mean, it is hard. I am an old dog. However, I will say that, to your point, Scott, realizing sometimes that there maybe is more than one way to skin a cat. I can't believe I said that. I hate that term. But there's more than one way to look at that. I do find myself realizing that. I think the more birthdays I accrue, okay, it rather than, and I am kind of proud of that, rather than getting more set in my ways, and I am striving toward that. I want to be not a little, but want to be more open and more accepting. And I don't mean changing my, the way I believe my core values. I'm not speaking about that, but realizing that, there may be more than one way to do something. Taking notes on a phone instead of a notebook. Kellen and I are both going to be attending a conference, and gosh, I guess it's just a couple of weeks. And I've already thought, am I supposed to take my laptop and take notes on my laptop? Is that what all the kids are going to be doing? Is that what the cool kids are doing?
All the cool kids are doing it, right?
Is it okay if I take my notebook? I mean, what do I feel like I'm going to be there with my slate and my abacus or something. I don't know. But I'm already worried about that. So
I'm bringing my notebook, but that has pugs on it. pictures of
Well,
pugs.
put in
There
the
you
comments
go.
what you're bringing if you're going to that. If you're going to
Yeah, if you're
Charlotte.
going to Gittimer's
March.
weekend or week.
Oh, are you? Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Jeffrey's
It's going
been
to be a reunion. I mean, we're all going to see these people we've known for over a year.
Yeah. A lot of
in
people who are in the
person.
comments are people from.
Oh, that's so cool, man. Jeffrey's been a buddy of mine for I don't know how
he's
long.
something else. Yeah.
Yeah.
You know what he did? They did a roast of me at the National Speakers Association.
Oh wow.
And we had the meeting on the East Coast, and Jeffrey had a speech that morning in Los Angeles and bought a ticket to fly from Los Angeles to Orlando just so he could roast me. And it's one of the coolest things anybody's ever done. It really was something else, but that's just the kind of guy he is. You know, because of his style, I think people who don't know him think he's this gruff, you know, and he's got a heart of gold, and you guys know that.
Oh yeah.
So
Rita can't let the world know, but he's a teddy bear. Don't tell anybody.
Yeah, but there will be knowledge dropped, so I'm really excited. And
Me
I will
too.
be
talk about a guy that
taking
outkicked his coverage too. Jennifer's super smart. She's amazing.
Man, she's a ball of fire.
She's a dynamo.
I love Jennifer.
Absolutely.
I'm just going to say that.
I love me some
I love
Jen
her.
Gittimer. Absolutely.
Please tell him I said hello, but don't tell him I was saying nice things about him. Okay.
Okay.
We will keep that under wraps. So, are there any more questions over here that I have missed? Y'all, we have Scott McKain.
You want to know what
in
my
the
favorite
house.
book is?
I'm
The
sorry.
All Business. It's the All Business Until Show Business book. I love that book.
Oh, thank you, Kellen. I appreciate that. My gosh, look how prepared you guys are. There's the library there.
There's the world, according to iconic Scott McKain.
What's your favorite, Scott? Do you have a favorite?
Yeah, what's your favorite?
I've got a new one coming out, and I thought I had it laying here. The publisher just sent me the test copy. I thought I had it laying right here, and I don't. I was going to show it to you. You know, I mean, I've always thought asking an author what their favorite book is like saying, and by the way, which one is your favorite child? You know, I mean, it's, because when you're writing them, but yet I've got a bunch of buddies in the music business, and it's kind of fun because when you ask them what their favorite is of what they've, you know, it's always their last album or always their last project, right? And they're always looking forward to the next one. And I just like anybody would about anything, I hope I get better the more I practice the craft. And so for me, iconic is the favorite because I believe so passionately in the subject, but also, I mean, just like anybody, if you've written, you know, if you've written that many books or given that many speeches or whatever, gosh, you should get better, you know? And so I don't think I'm a great writer by any chance, but I'm a better writer than I was. You know, so the other thing is, you know, Forbes named it one of the 10 best business books of that particular year. The response to it was really great, and I don't know. I've heard from organizations that it's really made a difference for them. So that's exciting as well.
That speaks for itself.
Hope so.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, any business wants happy customers, right? I mean, not just satisfied customers, but you know, but folks that really like it. And you know, you're never going to please everybody.
That's right. And when is your next book out?
We don't have a specific date yet, but Simon & Schuster, Forefront Books that did Iconic, asked for another one. But yeah, here's really interesting what they said. They said everything that you've written has been for, you know, I don't want to say upper level or a higher level, but it's been, you know, for example, with Iconic, if you had a bank, you would hope the leaders of the bank would read it, and I would hope that they would get it for the bank manager.
Mm-hmm.
But they wouldn't give it to every teller, and they wouldn't give it to every loan officer. And so they said the challenge is, you believe in the ultimate customer experience. Would you write a small book, a short book that they would give to the very frontline people? If you owned a restaurant, you would give this to a new server. And so that's what the new book is. It's the ultimate customer experience.
Cool.
And it's, you know, people that are involved in customer experience, I don't think there's a thing they're going to learn from reading the book. And it's the first one I've ever written where I wasn't trying to make a statement, you know, at that level. But one of the things I discovered when I was writing it was sometimes we get so involved with thinking up here, we forget about some of the basics. You know, I'm a big sports nut, and I love the Indianapolis Colts. And one of the things that the general manager said about the quarterback is, you know, he can make these amazing throws, but he doesn't make the layups. You know, make the short passes, make the layups, make the gimmies, do the fundamentals right. You know, that dazzling play every once in a while, you know, looks good on ESPN highlights, but we need you to make the layups, do the fundamentals right.
Mm-hmm.
And it really struck me that for any business, you could be an NFL quarterback and you got to get back to the fundamentals. Well, all of us, it really took me back to the fundamentals of what a really great customer experience is and how so much of that is dependent on the individual that's serving you. Right? I mean, when the bank we bank with here, you know, they have a corporate office in Charlotte. I don't think about the CEO of the corporation when I'm in my branch bank. I'm the teller is that bank to me at that point. Right. And so much of the experience is not based on what happens in the home office. It's what individuals are delivering. You know, there are great restaurants in Louisville that have phenomenal food that I've been to so many times. But if my server is rude, you know, then it's the whole experience is soiled, no matter how good the chef is. So
absolutely,
it's all about the individuals, and that's the goal of the book, is to remind us of the importance of individuals in everything that every organization does. Well, so I'll keep you posted. I'll let you know when we finally get a.
I'm excited.
I'm excited about the book.
And iconic is the very far right on my bookshelf right behind me at work.
No kidding. Oh my gosh.
It's not signed though, Scott McKain. Just saying.
Well, the next trip to Louisville, it will be. So
you got it. You got it.
Right. That's a promise.
So okay, any more questions in the chat?
I'm not seeing any.
I can't see it, you know. So
should we do our next portion of the show?
Do you have another question, Scott? Is there anything else that you wanted to talk about until we move on to our?
Yes, you folks have asked great questions, and thanks to everybody that's chimed in. If anybody has a question, post it, and we'll talk about it. But thank you for that. So I think he meant spot on.
Do you know Randy? Scott, do you and Randy Chafee know each other?
Know of each other. Yes.
Okay, you guys need to connect.
We do.
Yes, you all need to connect.
Because he's another Randy that coined a phrase, because his is Randy 2.5. What is his?
Randy.
It wasn't the new normal, because he didn't like that either. He created
Randy
his
2.
Randy,
if you want to ask me, I can say it. Randy 2. He's hybrid. Isn't he hybrid?
Hybrid 2.5.
Yeah.
That's what
you and Randy are kind of cut from the same cloth.
Great. Would love to do that. Yeah. That's very cool.
Yes, they are.
He's a cutie patootie.
Okay, while we're waiting for questions, Bruce, let's hit it. This show keeps getting cooler, doesn't it?
I can vow in my career, I have never been asked this question. There are a lot of questions I've been asked.
Another first on Candidly Speaking.
It is absolutely a first. I have never been asked this question before.
You know, we're just here to give, Scott. We're just here to give. It's what the people want.
We're different. We're not.
You're distinctive. In fact, you're beyond different. You're distinctive.
Thank you. We're working on becoming icons. We really are.
Yes, absolutely.
So, Scott, let's talk moisturizer. I know you've got this fantastic complexion. I know you moisturizer. I'm going to say, take it a step further and say that perhaps you even exfoliate as well. But we're here to talk moisturizer.
Okay.
So, what you got? Because I know there's something.
Clinique for men, and notice.
I knew it would be the men. I knew it would
be the men's stuff too.
Notice anti-age, and since I'm 87, I think it's
working
beautifully.
Don't you think? I mean, for 87, not bad, right?
You look good. You look good. Yes.
The body's shot, but the
Hey,
moisturizer
it's
is.
from here up. So it's
Yeah.
good. I
love
love
it.
that.
Yeah, you know what? You'd be
And by the way,
surprised some of the
Clinique,
things.
if Clinique is watching, it's scottmckain.com. Yes, endorsement deals.
I
You
love
know,
that.
there's,
I
you
love
know,
the way
we've
that
gotten
stuff
some
smells.
really strange, like, products since we asked that question.
Well,
Haven't
we
we,
have had
Michelle?
people who have said that they use what
Lard?
shortening lard.
Lard.
No, seriously?
Yeah.
Oh my
And
God.
ivory
Lard.
soap, I think, was one.
Yeah.
I've heard
just
Vaseline.
coconut oil. Just
Have
coconut
you ever heard
oil.
that one?
I guess I've heard of
Coconut oil.
that.
Ah.
Yeah.
I use coconut oil in my hair, though. I don't use it on my face.
Have you ever heard Vaseline?
On your face?
I'm serious. I knew
Yeah.
a gal, and she would coat her face with Vaseline at night.
How did she look?
Like she cut her face with Vaseline at night.
Okay.
Yeah, exactly.
Enough said. Not said. Not said.
I've seen her a couple times on Facebook, so
Oh. Well,
that's
there now.
an unusual
You didn't
thing.
hide it at all.
Let's see.
Well, so are you using the entire regimen or just that product? Because I need to know.
really do. I got started doing it, and Tammy has been involved. But when Tammy and I first met, she was a Mary Kay representative, in fact, and doing that. And so she
Great
really
mascara.
believes in the regimen, and Roden and Fields is what she does as a customer, but not as a salesperson. But she is a big believer in one of the things that she told me early on, because I really wasn't taking care of myself like that. And one of the things she said early on is, find the product that you like, but you really need to do this. And so, she got me the face scrub and the moisturizer and the bronzer and, the whole bit. And I'm rolling my eyes. And then all of a sudden, a little bit later, I'm kind of going, this isn't such a bad thing.
It's not so
It's,
bad.
and I think guys don't think about that enough.
Yeah, they don't.
It's
Well, not all.
Yeah.
There's like, Bam, he goes and gets pedicures regularly. So he has a lot of, self-care.
But I had a feeling that Tammy's finger was in this. But guys think that it's women's stuff. Men have skin just like women. And you know what, men, even though they may say they don't care, I don't think there's a man out there who wants their face to look like a wadded up paper bag. I mean, I refuse to believe that. So
I'm also thinking Vegas is so dry, you have to do something.
No, you're exactly right, Kellen. And it's one of the things that really shocked me when I first moved here was how different it is to live in 3% humidity as opposed to Louisville, where we have a humidity fest every summer. So it's a whole lot different. So yeah,
well,
you're
again, the
exactly
87,
right.
I wouldn't have guessed a day over 85. So it's working for you.
Hey,
It's working
thanks.
for
There
you,
go.
Scott. Keep doing it. Keep doing it.
You are such a charming guest.
Oh, you're so
You
kind. This has been a
are.
blast. You guys are awesome to talk to. This is
So will you come back?
I'm sorry?
Will you come back?
Of course, absolutely.
Great.
I mean, not without an
T-shirts.
invitation, but
Definitely after your new book comes out, but maybe before that.
okay.
Yeah, definitely.
Let's do it.
You have
I'm
just
all
been
in.
a delight.
That's great. This is a blast.
So you have to thank Tammy for giving us some of your time, because I hate to take you away from her. And so we really appreciate you spending some time with us and our audience. And I was like listening to you instead of like, I was like, you were like speaking at a, for a group of people instead of like interviewing you. I was just sitting here going,
Yeah, that's what I was doing too. There was one where Bruce had the, just the close up on him and it came back and I was like, oh, okay, question. Because I was actually writing down.
You're making my night. So, hey, I got to ask, and if it's not something you want to talk about, it's fine. But so are you going to Charlotte? Is that where the Gittimer thing is going to be? Is there in Charlotte? Yeah, it's great. Oh,
it's like the 21st through the 23rd, 24th.
Yeah, 21 through the 23rd.
Yeah.
Fantastic. That'll be such a great event. And that's one of the things that I think, the question was earlier, is there anything that good that's come out of COVID? And I think one of the associated things is that people have gotten into personal and professional development. and they've realized, it used to be, I think about my dad in the grocery store, and the only way he could get access to that kind of information was either get a book from the library and read it, or attend a meeting of the Indiana Grocers Association, which also meant you had to get somebody to watch the store while he was going, which is tough, because that also meant that was time you couldn't take on vacation, because you were always, entrepreneurs worry about leaving the business. Well, now you can watch live streams on Facebook, and you can sign up for programs like, Get 'em or Has, or I've got one with the Iconic Inner Circle. You can find ways to grow yourself and grow your business. And that's one of the things that I think we've learned as well. I talk about this from the platform of my speeches, is I don't think businesses get better. I think people get better, right? I mean, sales don't improve. Sales professionals improve. Customer service doesn't improve. Customer service representatives improve.
Right.
Companies don't get better. Leaders get better. And
Right.
so that's what we have to do, is to find ways that we can grow personally and professionally. And now we have the ability to do that online, and learn and share and just connect in ways that we just didn't have before. And I just think that's one of the great things that we can do. I mean, and hey, that's part of what I love. There's the thing with you guys. You guys are walking the talk. I mean, you're not only here sharing your story and sharing your information. Hey, you signed up for Jeffrey's program, and you're going to go to Charlotte, and you're going to do, those types of things. And I think that's really, really important.
Yeah. And Scott,
we're kicking asses and not taking names.
There you go.
We don't have time to take names. We don't have time. But seriously, and not to toot my horn here, but I have to tell you, anyone can do this, because back to the COVID silver lining. I worked from home just for about 8 weeks back, initially when everyone was sent home. I went back to the office after about 8 weeks. But during that time, I worked during the day, during my normal business hours. And then the rest of the time I did online training. Okay. And prospecting. And I really just poured into this girl right here. Okay. There was nothing else really to do. I don't have a whole lot of a life. Okay. But I will tell you, I enjoy things like that. And I've kind of switched my mindset a little bit. Would I rather binge watch something on Netflix? I couldn't tell you one thing on Netflix. I really couldn't. Okay. So I'm a little bit out of the loop socially with the rest of the world on that. Or would I rather do something like this, which will really help propel my life forward? Okay. So I've come daggone near tripling my business, which, consequently tripling my income. Yeah. As a result of that. And that has happened. So now I do stuff like this for kicks, Scott McKain.
This is our fun.
These training. I like it. I'm like, okay, what else have you got for me? So if I can do that, anybody can do that. Seriously. And I always think, I've got the attention span, of a gnat, but it's like, what, let me just do it. Just do it.
Yeah.
Do it.
Yeah.
And it goes back to what Scott said about, all these things are available now. I mean, a year ago, would I have written a book? No. Right. I mean, I took a class. I joined a mastermind group and wrote a book. Yeah. And my illustrator's on maternity leave, so it's not being delayed a little bit. So as soon as she's out of
the real world,
my illustrations are done.
Yeah. Look here, what Dwayne. Oh, I'm sorry.
Nice?
I didn't mean to cut you off.
Oh, yeah. And isn't the first month free on your?
Yeah. If you join the Iconic Inner Circle, the first month's free. We also so there's a weekly lesson, and then the next thing is there's also courses. So in addition to the weekly lesson, there is a course on how to write and tell a compelling story. There's a course on how you create virtual events. There is a course on, and there's more coming. There's a course on a personal distinction. So all of that, so you get both the weekly program and you get these courses that you can take, and hey, try it out for a month. It's on me, and it'll give you the chance to check it out. The first month's absolutely free. There's no problem if it's not for you. I just want you to do something, and hopefully this is it. But do something to make a difference in your life. Again, as I said, when you stand out, you earn more, and it's not just earning more money. It's earning more respect. It's earning more free time. It's earning more of the things that you want to have. I see here too, my buddy Randy he's setting me up here with this question. You know the difference between education and training? First of all, let me give you a broad definition. Education is about us thinking and having, differences and being able to reason. And training is the ability to perform a task. It teaches us how to perform a task repetitively. And so the horrible example that is not original to me, but I use, and I apologize in advance, but the horrible example that I use is, if we had a 16-year-old daughter, would we prefer her to go to sex education or sex training?
Oh my,
That's perfect.
And any responsible parent, right, would say sex education, right? Because education means you can talk about abstinence, you can talk about morality, you can talk about reasoning and that, and so I think what we have to talk about as well is that there are certain things that I need training on. For example, if I get a new phone, I need to watch something so I'm trained to know how to get the most out of that piece of equipment, or a computer, or a whatever. But when it comes to running a business, or when it comes to being a leader, what we need is education, so that we think about different concepts, and we have a chance to analyze what works in our situation, and what we can do in the areas where we need to grow. Because that's the thing. If I sign up for a course, there are certain areas where I need to grow that you might not, and vice versa. And so education means that you can reason and think and grow in your understanding and bring some wisdom into the process. I think we've got more information in the world than ever before, and sometimes I think we have less wisdom than we've had in the past. We need education that helps us grow in our ability to be wise about the choices that we make and the things that we do, and how we lead and sell and grow and serve and all those other things. So thanks for Randy setting me up there with that. Hey, thank you, Phil.
I agree, Coach Phil. I agree. Okay, well then I guess that wraps it up for
Thank you so much.
Amazing show.
Oh, this has been, I looked up at just saw the time, and I was like, man, it's the fastest hour of my life. Holy cow, this has just flown by. Good.
We always try to keep it like a half hour, 45 minutes to be respectful of time, but we just kept going tonight.
Man, I love it. I've had a blast. So thank you so much.
It's been great being with you.
Thank you so much.
And if folks want to check out Iconic Inner Circle, like I said, the first month's free. It's on me. There's no obligation, no risk.
Please
give it a shot.
Please do.
You'll
yes,
have a chance
please
to see if some of the things work for you. So,
and we would appreciate
everybody
it.
who is watching. And
yes, thank you
for those who are going to be on the replay. Be sure to let us know that you're watching this on the replay, and let us know where you're watching from. And
absolutely, and please share this out with your friends. Yes. Everyone needs to see this show. Everyone needs to hear what Scott has to say. Wonderful material that can be applied to whatever you're doing. Absolutely.
Well, we appreciate you, and we appreciate our audience. Thank you, Blue Sky Video Productions, Goodwin Graphics, Cards That Wow. Until next week, we will see you then.
All righty.